Here we go.
What's good, everybody? I'm Robert Dickens Jr.
This is Ryan Reed.
This is Elanders Frazier.
This is John Gaal, and you're listening to Volta.
Changing the conversation
For percussion educators,
designers,
and performers.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with Volta Percussion. We are with Rob Dickens Jr., Elanders Frazier, Ryan Reed, and of course myself, John Gaal. Welcome back to another episode of Volta Percussion. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a year, over a year.
A whole year. What's been going on? Let's take a couple minutes, just wrap up, catch our audience members back up. Ryan, where are you at? What are you doing? Fill us in.
So I just finished year 6 at West Claremont. Doing a little bit with Raiders this summer in terms of writing and doing a little bit out there time-wise. Finished year 13 on staff with Matrix.
Awesome. Congratulations.
So
Great show, by the way.
thank you. Yeah, we were really proud of just everything that we did and not taking a penalty finals night with the sand. You can check out all the Instagram videos of the sand crew cleaning up. But that's really it. Still plugging away at trying to figure out how to make high school kids play great and that kind of thing.
That's awesome.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Landers,
Oh, okay.
still teaching?
Still teaching at Pace High School.
Symbols?
Yeah, not so much anymore. I think I stay inside Upper Battery Lane. Still teaching at Pace High School, so this will be I don't have the years right off the top of my head. I had about a 5-year hiatus. First year there was 06. Left in 15, came back in 21. Now I'm here. So 9 plus 4, 13 years. Same as Ryan. So we're doing well. We are now a 4th year consistent open class finalist, which is fantastic from the WGI perspective. This is my 3rd year at Colt Storm Bugle Corps, snare technician. So that's going well. Getting back on the road with them some this summer. Dadding, got a 10-year-old, headed to 11-year-old. So that's always a blessing. Lovely wife as well. Don't want to forget her. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And work. Full-time work. Corporate America. Living the dream. Living the dream.
Living the dream.
Yeah, it's a dream.
Rob, are you still living your dream?
Yeah, man. It changes,
Every day, each week?
which is good. I mean, I don't know. I feel like mine is definitely like flexible. So, still doing some music director stuff at a church in Marietta, which is cool, which allows me to be able to afford to teach drums.
Awesome.
Teaching drums at Chattahoochee and Centennial High School, and doing program coordination and visual design for both, and also Chattahoochee's indoor drum line. So yeah, living the dream, man. Teaching, creating, doing band
Mm,
on my own terms, which is great. So
that's it.
Nice, man.
That's it. How about you, John?
Same old, same old. Year 6, Trimble Tech High School as a band director. First year actually not teaching this summer in over a decade.
Oh, wow.
So I want to wish the Colt staff and the team there the best of luck, but I decided to take a little break. It's been 10 years I've been doing drum corps. So I just wanted to see what else is out there. For those that don't know, I'm doing a full house renovation. So I've been doing that for a whole year. I bought this house a couple years ago, moved in finally last year when the tenants moved out. They just had their 3rd kid, so they wanted a bigger space. So I was finally able to move in. It's a 1972 house.
Oh, wow.
And so we're doing full new electrical, plumbing, vanities, flooring, out everything. So I've been doing most of it myself, teaching myself with YouTube. And the last 2 big projects now is I'm about to do the master bathroom and the kitchen, countertops, and cabinets. After that, I'll be done. So same old music and doing a little bit more non-musical activities on the side as well. Crossfitting, yes. Doing a lot of that. Getting back into the competition side of things, which is great for my mental and physical well-being. And so I've been doing that consistently now for about 8 months. definitely seeing some improvement there, and still drumming at church each week or every other week, so that helps keep my playing skills up.
2025, little Volta reunion. We're live in New Orleans. Let's give a shout out to, unofficially sponsored, to the Troubadour, which is where we're at New Orleans. So if you happen to be in the New Orleans area, definitely come out and visit the Troubadour. It's definitely giving us a great space to record. Great facilities. They take care of us here. So give a shout out to them. Those of you that listen, if you're in the New Orleans area. New Orleans has been a trip so far. I've enjoyed every moment of it. Nice time for us to catch up. Definitely kind of get back to our rapport. I don't think we've all been in the same space together.
Been a couple years, right?
23.
23?
Yeah.
Yeah.
23.
Been DCI finals. Were we all there?
Well, I don't
You
think
weren't
I was
there.
in 23.
I'm hardly ever there.
I've been
For open class.
We've been in 23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were there at open class finals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 23?
23? You weren't there.
22. 22.
22 probably we were all there.
Wasn't it for 23?
No, because it was just me and Ryan. I remember that because E couldn't make it.
I had band camp as usual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So maybe it's 22.
Oh.
Either way, it's been a minute. It's been a couple years.
Yeah.
I think our last recording session too was January of last year. So we've had a bit of a hiatus. But I think one of the blessings that have come from just our time to kind of we picked right back up where we left off, which is
Oh yeah.
it's a beautiful
Great relationships.
it's a beautiful friendships, man. Like these are the things that you always hope for in life, that you have these beautiful relationships that where it doesn't matter the amount of time in between, you can just kind of pick right up where you left off and be together and hold that space together, be able to talk about all the things from school to family to politics to pop culture, everything that's going on in the world, and we all come from very different perspectives, and that's what I just love about our friend group, is that we all have so many varied experiences that I always feel fulfilled coming out of our conversations, because we're not what do they call it, a like a group tank or
Think tank.
yeah, it's not like corporate where we all are like literally just kind of repeating each other. Like we all have very different perspectives, and I think it makes our conversations worthwhile. But I'm sure that's probably why a lot of people listen to the podcast. So,
And we talked about doing this trip for a couple of years now.
yeah.
But I think, over the last day and a half that we've been together, like we've all shared enough experiences in just normal life, talking about like family and stuff and that kind of thing, like where we all just, I think, made it important to see each other again. It's like we haven't seen each other, and we are good friends outside of just teaching together at drum corps. And it's like it was finally time to get together again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what a beautiful city to do it in too. I will say the rain yesterday was a little bit of a bummer, but today has been gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Today has been gorgeous, and it's not as hot as it normally is.
Right.
The morning wasn't,
That's
but the afternoon got a little
That time.
smoky out
Yeah,
there.
it get a little sizzle.
The southeast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm enjoying New Orleans, and just I think this also just kind of makes me think about just percussion community and stuff like that too, and like how important that is. Because I definitely feel like that's one thing that like fades the more that we got so much more technology and a lot of other things at our disposal. Like being able to call somebody else and be like, "What do you think about this?" or send them a video is like way more.
Right.
Like you're getting so much better just by being able to get real time feedback from another human being.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely glad to just be back in the space again in general. Because I feel like that's honestly probably the thing that drew me to percussion in general.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like being around the drum line, being around other people that are passionate about music, other band nerds. We saw so many nerds today. Oh my god.
Nerd is nerd just a definition?
Yes.
For someone that's passionate about something.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I will say that I do not mean any disrespect by
No.
the use of the word nerd.
No, whatsoever.
Revenge of the Nerds, excellent film.
Oh, God.
Great casting, great storytelling, comedic genius. But it's like
Pokemon, is that international?
Yeah, the International 2025 Pokemon Championships start tomorrow here.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We just stumbled upon it.
We just stumbled upon a day ahead. So what were they like training and stuff today?
They were
just like-
training? No, they were No, I'm pretty sure they were just checking into the convention
Oh, okay.
and getting their decks ready to
To be able to
compete.
Okay.
Right.
So maybe going through like some volleying and just getting prepped on what moves they're going to
How fast can I shuffle this time?
Like, is this an extended warm up? Like, how do I like, are we on pads right now, or have you made it to the lot finally? Like, what's the score?
I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to figure out about this. Look, I'm definitely the most inexperienced in this whole Pokemon thing. So I'm just like, I don't understand what's going on. I see a lot of people who are the same type of weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then that set my brain off on like, wait, they all have on lanyards. They're all going to something. There's a convention here somewhere.
Right.
Pokemon. Got it.
Got it.
Well, obviously, I automatically relate because I'm like, all band kids are the same.
Yeah.
Similar type of
Yeah.
weird. Like, I don't know. I think Pokemon's funny in that regards. Like, it's kind of like drum corps, and like, it's so weird that like you can only explain to somebody else that's ever done it.
Mhm.
Like, they don't understand what you're doing.
Mhm.
Because for me, like John tried to explain Pokemon to me today, completely over my head. I do not understand.
I know a little bit. I feel like I know enough to be dangerous, but I've never actually played the card game. All of mine's from just like
Electronic versions.
Yeah.
electronic versions.
Game Boy.
Yeah. So my daughter plays some Pokemon with her cousins. And she's pretty good at it. But I've never spent a long deal of time in that space. I'm more of a fighting game. Mortal Kombat,
Yeah.
Street Fighter, that's it. Soul Calibur is like, that's where my heart is in terms of fighting games. But
Tekken. I
Tekken,
played that a bunch.
yeah, bro. I never got to the Pokemon.
Yeah.
What's the lure of Pokemon? Is the storytelling? The characters? 'Cause I know they've gotten more Pokemon than like when we grew up. When we grew up, it was like 100 and something characters, and that was it.
Yeah, I think now in today's age, it's like generational. Like the people our age are teaching their kids about just the cool concept of maybe collecting it, and this was a passion of theirs when they were a kid, and now they get to pass that on and see them like whatever cool creatures or colors these cards are to them.
Pocket monsters. The name Pokemon from it comes from pocket monsters.
Okay.
Never knew that.
Yeah.
Learned something today.
When we talk about passing things down, I feel like this is the year of that for me because my daughter's starting 6th grade band, and she went through the auditions and everything, and she did well on 2 things. She did well on percussion. She did well on clarinet. And I gave her a choice because I didn't want to be one of those dads that's like, you're gonna do percussion because I did percussion. I didn't want to do it like that, so I gave her a choice, and she was like, I want to do percussion. I was like, are you serious? Like, are you sure? Is that what you want to do? No pressure here. She's like, yes, it's the only thing I want to do. I said,
Well, good. You're already applying. Here we go. Eights. Let's go.
It's amazing. So I'm glad she does it. On that track, I mean, she started with piano, which I know John started with piano. So she did piano for 3 years before she got to taekwondo and stuff like that. So I'm glad for kind of starting this journey. I told her she'd do it for 1 year. If she likes it, she can stay in. If she doesn't like it, then we'll find something else that she really enjoys to do. I don't want to force her. I didn't want music to be this forced effort because I do it and it's something I'm really passionate about. My wife doesn't do anything kind of music related, teaching, performing, or anything like that. She's just a fan, right?
Yeah.
So to see my daughter kind of come up in that space and not only have the talent, but just have the want to try to grow in it a little bit. I'm really excited about it, but I don't want my excitement about me seeing my child kind of go in that space, like overwhelm her to where she completely disengages with it. Because I know that can happen from a parent standpoint.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So, definitely glad to see where that kicks off and help her on her pathway. And hopefully she don't break the bank if she wants to start playing a bunch of different instruments, and I want this and I want that and all that. So sending her to the unc's house to go get some lessons.
Hey man,
Yeah.
that's gonna be an interesting situation.
Mhm.
No, obviously, like kind of full circle too, of like your your path of like starting band and like your child starting band. But I mean, you started as like
Saxophone.
sax,
Mhm.
correct?
Yep.
And then like you wound up transitioning to percussion.
Mhm.
That's an interesting like full circle because obviously you're always starting back over to learn something else.
Mhm.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm interested to see how Ava continues on and how what kind of effect it has on you. I mean, obviously you don't necessarily have any expectations, but what are the unspoken expectations kind of in the back of your mind of like her getting a good education from a musical standpoint if she does continue?
If she does continue, I think one of the things that I want her to be is well-rounded. I definitely think kids, especially in this day and age, they fall down this track of either I want to be a keyboardist or I want to be a rudimentalist, and that's the only thing I want to do. And then when they get into higher ensembles, that the expectation is for them to do both or to do all, they're kind of they're at a handicap because they've only put so much energy in one space. And so like that's my thing for her is that dependent upon the curriculum that's going to be presented to her, it's going to be dependent on the band director that's coming into her middle school. I want to make sure that I'm building the deficit of whatever she's learning there. So if that band director is very keyboard focused, then I want to make sure she's building the rudiment side. Once she get into high school, if she ends up going the rudiment side, I want to make sure that from a private lesson standpoint, she's still getting the education to build her keyboard side because once again, for me, it's about what's going to get you a scholarship to go to higher education if you want to go down the college route. And I don't want you walking into an audition and expecting that you're only going to play one and not the other and be able to be well-rounded enough to make it into a higher level college ensemble. Because I know you need all of it. Like you really need all of it if you're going to be a well-rounded percussionist. Now, if she wants to go down the drum corps track and do those other semi-professional gigs, professional gigs, and stuff like that, then obviously she'll kind of have a choice on the route that she wants to go to. But just from a pure educational model standpoint, just like any academic subject, you're not just learning addition. You got to learn multiplication and division and subtraction and equations and algebra and trigonometry. Like you have to learn all those things to become well-rounded in terms of just the execution of mathematics. So I want her to be able to do that just from the execution of music as well. Circle of fifths, learning piano, digging back deeper into that, making sure that she understands how all the instruments fit inside of a score, what is she listening to inside of a band ensemble, et cetera, et cetera. Like all of that stuff is important because I want her to be the best. And that's an expectation I have from a parent. But in order for me to set her up to be the best, I need to make sure that she has access to the information, right?
Right.
So, and so me making sure that she has access, I feel like is the way that I'm going to try to push her in that direction. And then hopefully she rises to the occasion, is not lazy about it, as some students can be, and she gets better in that regard. So I hope, fingers crossed.
You're going to be that. Oh, wow, she's going to middle school, so you still have a couple more years before you become the band dad, building the props, pushing the speakers on the field.
I've thought about this, and the thing that worries me too is, as much as I want to do that, obviously she's going to matriculate into the high school that I teach at. And that is the one thing is like, do I retire before she gets into high school so that I can solely dedicate energy to being just her band parent? Or do I stay indebted inside of that program as a percussion instructor
That's a
and,
great question.
like make sure that foundationally she is still growing as an individual, as a percussionist under my tutelage as one of her instructors? Because I feel like I can't do both, right? Like, I mean, I could probably do a little bit, and I know my wife will be able to step in some too and kind of become that band parent. She's always going to be there to support. But like right now, taekwondo, like, I mean, I'm a taekwondo dad. I don't have to get in the ring and spar with her or anything like that, but like I'm there for competitions, make sure she's at practices and stuff like that. But it's like once she does kind of matriculate in high school, that is a choice that I'm gonna be presented with in terms of, do I want to step back and just be the band dad, or and I guess my question is can I step back and watch somebody else teach my kid and not want to infiltrate?
See, that's the real conflict in question, though.
Mhm.
How would you handle like being in a scenario where, let's say, your child has terrible instructors, and you know this ensemble sucks,
Oh Lord.
but you also have the skills to be able to like save it, and you can't save it because you're not in that position.
I'm not in that position.
See, that to me would be like, I feel like I would have to probably teach until my child matriculated through the program,
Right.
just to make sure that they're going to get a certain level of quality, unless the program was just good.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because it's just like, I don't know that I could come home hearing that, you know, consistently all the time, and kids suck.
Right. Right.
And you're like, dang, why do you suck? Why y'all suck?
Right. Why does this
I
happen?
can't
Why
just be the
stuff?
bandana.
Right.
I'm so
Yeah.
mad.
Right. And I feel like it would break my heart to go down that pathway. So it's like the more I think about it, it's like I'm probably gonna be there until she graduates high school, and we may end up retiring together. You know, like
Who do we know have already been in that situation in the percussion community? And this can even be a question to our viewers or our listeners. Who do we know had a child go through, let's say, high school, middle school, even college, and that parent was an instructor? The only person I can think of is Prospery, but I think he stepped out of judging DCI when his son was going through that.
right.
But I'm sure, because
Tom Hanks is the only other person I can think
Right.
of.
Yeah.
I'd assume his son went to Dartmouth and, you know, matriculated through there, but
Mhm.
that's the only other person I can think of, and I know that he's taught at Dartmouth. But yeah,
that'd be an interesting viewpoint if we could talk to them, or if they could comment on any of our social links on their experience as well. Like
Right.
shed some light into what you may experience in a few years.
Mhm.
Because I don't think there's a right or wrong answer in terms of one way or the other. Because either way, you're there and you're supporting your kid, whether it be a
Right.
band dad or an instructor role. But yeah, there's definitely got to be more challenges as the instructor on the instructor side of things, because it's like you have to separate. Because I taught my brother when he was in high school, and you've got to separate like that sibling or child connection and
Right.
relationship for like this is business, and
Right.
you know played you played the rhythm out of time, and this is not me saying it as your dad, this is your instructor, as your brother, like,
Right.
this is as your instructor. Hey, you gotta do that better,
Right.
and then you gotta write it together.
Right.
Like, well,
You suck. Go practice.
I'm so interested. I'm so
No,
interested.
no, you're dead right now.
I never knew that, Ryan. How did you conquer that with your brother being an instructor in space? I'm sure you're a lot younger, so there's different perspective there too.
yeah,
Did he last all 4 years in high school?
yeah, he did. I think I don't remember the years exactly. I'm pretty sure I stepped away before he graduated to go take a role in another school. But there was definitely, you know, the feeling of like, hey man, you should be. For me, there's like, hey man, you should be better than this because like I'm standing in front of you, like. But at the same time, like I had to let him experience that growth and, you know, success and disappointment on his own
Mm-hmm.
instead of wanting to turn it into my experience, which I think, looking back on it now as I'm older, would be easier. Now that I'm older. When I was younger, I was like, well, I did this and this and this, and I was good at this and I was bad at this, so you got to do this and you got to do that. And it's like very black and white versus like that you have to have your own experience.
yeah.
You're living your own experience as an instructor, and he was living his own experience as a student, and they just happened to cross at the same time for a period of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think at that time I didn't understand that. I think it's taken a lot of uh maturing on my end to have to look at even my students I'm not related to and whatnot.
Right.
And just go, all right, well, I'm gonna push them in the direction they need to go, but they also have to have some of this experience on their own.
Right.
It's
I
like
feel like
there's
I feel like that's a difficult thing to kind of deal with as an instructor in general. It's like understanding the line between like where your desire ends for your student or for your program, and like where their desire, their responsibility begins.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because it's easy for you to be the person that's able to push more, able to, you have more of the fire to be able to, like, you have this high bar that you want for them.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you're either waiting on them to catch up or you're trying to contain the best that you can their desires and like what they're trying to matriculate through as a student. So I mean, I think my thought is like, what's the best way that you guys know of just like kind of trying to balance between the two, like your expectations for the students and like what you see that they can do, and then also like their level of desire as to like what they actually want to do, because what they achieve is going to be a meeting of those two things.
For sure. Um, you know, hmm, man, there's one thing that I think about is I wonder about the flip side of that conversation to where what if my daughter decides to do all the right things and she is excelling at a high rate
Mm.
and she has to deal with the student pressure of you're only this good because your dad is XYZ, or you're only in this position because your dad is here, when it could all very well be on her own accord. I mean, she is a high achieving academic student right now. She is a high achieving taekwondo student right now, and I have nothing to do with that. But that's me instilling in her solid work ethic, and her mom instilling in her making sure your homework is done in advance, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's like I always worry, not even if I have to conflict with her because she's not on it, but what happens if she is on it all the time? And it's like, I also have to reward her the same way that I would reward any other student that's on it all the time. And she becomes the example because it's like, she's doing the right things. This is the example you need to follow. How do I balance to make sure that she's not the target of that feeling of inadequacy that comes when you're not the spotlight in a program? Because it's like we tend to spotlight the students that do all the right things, and it's easy to do that because they are doing the right things. It's not that they're perfect, it's just that they're setting an example for the other students to follow. But what happens when that is your blood?
I think that problem's always going to be there. That jealousy in the other students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. Oh, like having gone through it
Mm-hmm.
recently where the students are like, well, you're just the favorite. No, no, I understand why you feel that way, but you feel that way because you're not working as hard as them. But on the flip side, they're not they're not in the practice room as much, so they're not seeing them work. So
Correct.
it's like
Yeah.
that's one of those things where it's like, as an instructor, like I can try to nip that in the butt, but I that's part of the student experience
Right.
too. Like
Yeah.
just the life experience. And we talk about like kids get better at life through band and whatnot. And I think part of that is them having to navigate those social interactions. Like we can be their safety net and whatnot.
Right.
But at the same time, like they've got to do a little bit of that
Mm.
on their own. But yeah, I mean, like John said, the problem's always going to be there because when you spotlight the extremities, which is what we do as instructors,
Right.
like this thing is really good, be like that. This thing is not really good, stop doing that.
Right.
Everyone's gonna be like, well, they're picking on me, or they're the favorite, or this and that. No, the answer is, hey, you're not watching what the other person's doing outside of rehearsal, and what's they're doing outside of rehearsal is causing them to be in those extremities.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I actually had this conversation with a student recently.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Obviously, we're in summertime right now,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm sure you guys do it as well. But we host a band banquet at the end
For sure.
of our season in May to celebrate the kids' achievements and kind of, give a last goodbye to the seniors and share what's upcoming events for next year, band show, etc., etc. And so we give out awards, best, let's say, marching member from a technical standpoint, best freshman, overall musician, strongest woodwind, brass, percussion, things like that. And I gave out, best percussion award to one of my freshmen because he was killing it. He was doing all the right things. He was participating in all the events. He was practicing a lot. And my philosophy for all my students is to be well-rounded percussionists.
Mhm.
And I later heard that another student who it was a will remain nameless at this time, but he was upset, very upset that he didn't get the awards, and he has grown tremendously as well. And
Right.
especially keyboard is not his strength, and he is thrown down on some rudimental solos in the spring, and then he has really stepped up on a lot of keyboard stuff. So, he was venting to some of the other students, and they shared with me his frustrations. And, I thought about it. And of course, hopefully all of our students put in a lot of, they do because we push them.
Right.
Throughout, band in general is a lot compared to many other students just going through their high school career and just
Right.
coasting. And he did tremendous work. But when you think about overall the big picture, every single attendance matters. Every single, football game or region, solo event or four mallet playing, rudimentals, whatever, percussion ensemble. Like when you think about everything, when I'm giving that award out, I'm thinking of all those aspects, as well as how many times do I see that those students in the classroom. And
Right.
unfortunately, with the student who was complaining, they had obviously the drumline class like the other student, but they also had an additional band class, which was more of a practice period. So I didn't hold this individual's hand that often because I gave them space to practice.
Right.
I check in from time to time. I did have a beginner, so I spent most of my time with the beginner, building that beginner up. And there was from time to time I'd walk in on the student and be like, hey, so and so, you got to get off your phone. Hey, why aren't you practicing? Hey, we should be doing this. Why are you sleeping? Oh, you got a migraine. I'm sorry. Okay, let's take like a 15-minute break and then let's get back into it. But when you think about all that, and this for any student who's listening, I mean, what you do and what you don't do is always being observed.
For sure.
And while you may feel you're putting in every effort that you can, which may be true, there's always someone out there who's going to be outworking you.
I have said that, man. I've said that at least 4 times in the last month and a half to my private lesson students, just letting them know that, like, even though you're taking private lessons, even though you're going to get better as a result of these lessons, I want you to understand and know there's always going to be somebody that is just that much better, just that much more talented, etc. And you can't take that as a personal assault on the work that you've done and the successes that you've had.
100%.
Right? Like, that may be true, but it can also be true that you're also getting better and becoming the best version of yourself at your craft. Right? But you cannot say, because I'm the best version of myself at my craft, I must be better than everyone else. It's probably always going to be somebody a little bit better than you.
Right.
And be okay with that.
What's unfortunate in this situation is this individual, because of all the effort that he put in this past year, he was like, well, I'm not going to put that much effort into next year. And I think that's such a negative mindset, because I even talked to him. I said, you had every opportunity. The ball was in your court to be the best version that you could be and to win this award if that was what you were striving to be.
Right.
But there were times throughout this school year which you dropped the ball, unfortunately. That doesn't mean you're a failure. Those are just experiences you need to learn. And he's got 2 more years.
Oh, wow.
And he's going to be an
Yeah.
upperclassman this year.
Yeah.
So once again, every opportunity is going to be given to him to be the best version of himself. And he has the choice to whether or not he's going to use this experience of jealousy, I guess you could say, and step up, or if he's just going to wait for someone to hold his hand. And I think a lot of students, especially after COVID, and we've mentioned this multiple times, they lack the initiative or the drive on an individual personal level. They want everything given to them. We were talking about this at dinner or lunch about the TikTok. They were asking us, I think it was dinner, how'd you get so good? We practice. Yeah, but how'd you get so good? We practice. Okay, so what's the cheat sheet I can get really good right now? No, it's not the TikTok, splice everything up, make everything really fast.
Right.
No, you got to put the time and the effort through a long period of time.
Yeah, I think that's the tough thing for students to understand sometimes. It's like, you're doing the right things. You're just not doing them long
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And there's no amount of like information that's gonna like get you over that gap.
Right.
And I think that sometimes, which I think that we all kind of deal with this at certain times, it's like you do get in the middle of something to where like you're doing it over and over again and you're getting your reps in and you kind of wonder whether or not you're doing the right thing. But it's like you're doing the correct things. You just have to like double down on what it is that you're doing and continue to refine. You know what I mean? Until you actually get to the other side of like, oh, okay, I'm achieving whatever it is, like making this group or being able to get this accolade or score somewhere competitively. Like I think the tendency is like whenever you don't get it or you don't see any outward signs that like you're on the right path, like you just feel like, oh, okay, well I should quit. When it's like, okay, if you are not satisfied with like the journey itself and being like, I'm satisfied in the fact that like I am consistently practicing to get better. I am satisfied that I am like in pursuit of an endeavor to make myself a better person by playing drums or whatever it is that you're doing from a creative standpoint, then like you're definitely going to quit because no matter how hard you work, like you said, there's always a possibility that somebody could be better. Like, and then I feel like, especially with WGI this year, with what we saw from a lot of the groups, just like all the high scores, like to me, I feel like that says something about the quality of the bottom groups more than it does the top groups. Like the top groups have always been great,
Right.
but I think in order for them to justify to me the point spread of certain stuff, it's like you can't tell me if 15 is a 90 something and this other group is that far away from them, it does push everyone's scores up.
Right.
Mhm.
And it's just like this year to me, like Rhythm X was that person. Like Rhythm X on any other year, I feel like could have been the world champion. Period.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like I feel like there's no reason why any other year Rhythm X couldn't have won.
Right.
But it was just like it just happened to be RCC's year. Like they just happened to do something that was just it's just that much different than everybody else.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's something that like you definitely have to accept that as a performer. You for sure have to accept that as a teacher. Like anywhere, like you have to accept that like your journey is your journey because you're not
That
gonna win by making other people worse. You can't.
that's the important part too, is that it is your journey. Because I
Right.
think the thing that of like the frustration of like not getting it gets students to want to quit, but also I've had to talk students um off the proverbial ledge of like, yes, you are not as good as so and so else in the studio. Like, one, they're older than you. They should be farther along, you know. But also like you have to run your race at your time. They practice more, they're a little bit older. Like those things happen. It's totally fine.
Right.
That does not mean that you're bad. It just means you're not as far down the path as they are. And that's another thing that students don't want to hear. They want it again in a day and age where social media is instant gratification. That's what they're searching for, is that quick hit of dopamine of like, I'm really good right now. It's like, no, you will be really good. It's just not right now. And I think the hard part is we as instructors also have to do that for ourselves when we're looking at our groups and we're like in a specific classification or whatever.
Yep.
And it's like, we're not all gonna be the Rhythm X's or the RCCs or the IALAs or the,
Yep.
and nor should we be,
Right.
That's
you know? And I think one thing that I have struggled with and I'm trying to get better about is like, how do I create that personalized journey for all the students in the ensemble, also understanding that, you know, we have such a diverse group of kids. We have high achievers, we have lower achievers, we have kids that, you know, have different needs, socioeconomic needs, learning needs. Like we have to tailor an experience for all of those kids and make it equally fulfilling for all of them, And where I've struggled has always been like, this is what it is.
Right.
And it can't, one, it can't be, and it be a good experience for
Right.
everybody.
Mhm.
But I've also noticed that like you live with a little bit more disappointment on the individual level, but like when you create a customized plan within the ensemble, the students generally enjoy the experience a little bit more. And the ensemble itself, at least in my experience, has been a little bit more successful in that. You might not like, not every kid reaches the same potential level, but I think they end up reaching like their
Their
potential
potential.
that they want for themselves.
Yes.
And in the grand scheme of things, if this kid is 10% better than this kid, that's not why your ensemble's winning. That's not why your ensemble's losing.
But also, I mean, when you go to a competitive event, whether it's indoor, percussion ensemble, solo ensemble, whatnot, I mean, those individuals are going to be judged
Mm-hmm.
on the same sheets as
Yep.
all the other individuals in that ensemble.
Yeah.
And that's looking, especially for me and my program moving into this next school year. I have some beginner students because I teach ninth grade beginners who they're going to be joining our ensemble next year, and they're on the spectrum. And I've tried very hard to make it a personalized plan for each student because that's what we should do as educators. And I've given them every opportunity to go through the whole process of auditioning for whatever instrument they want. But at the end of the day, they weren't able to meet that criteria, so they can't play that specific instrument. So we found another spot for them in the marching band. But when you go to those marching band competitions, even if they're playing that specific instrument, it's a coin toss.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to just say like, all right, Susie Q, you're not going to play for this band competition
Right.
because they're at those rehearsals. They might be practicing on the pad or maybe not hitting that cymbal roll exactly every time, and you're like, oh, it two counts early. One more time, because the other kids they get it too, and
Right.
so there's always that struggle of incorporating everyone and making sure everyone is reaching their fullest potential
Right.
while also trying to be quote unquote competitive.
Well, and by no means was I advocating for kids sitting out. So just want to make that.
yeah. I don't.
Nobody's
I don't agree with it.
advocating that. But I think it comes down to like customizing what their expectation is for them. Like I've got kids that like I will run over and give a kid a high five when they play that suspended cymbal roll in the right spot because that is their maximized potential.
Right.
Yes.
Everything.
And there's
Yes.
absolutely nothing wrong with that. You play wind chimes and you play suspended cymbal, and that's maxed out. High fives all around. And another hard thing I think to get students to understand is they see us do that and they're like, but I'm not getting a high five. Well,
You suck. Go practice.
well, to high five a freshman, regardless of whatever, should be easier than high fiving a senior.
Yes.
Right.
It should be.
Yes.
Just because
By nature of your matriculation.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because like what they know and what they're achieving versus what the senior knows and what they're achieving. Like, yeah, the senior should have more difficult parts, and have be pushed harder to achieve those at a higher level, whereas the freshman might have easier parts, being pushed the same way to achieve their parts, but like totally different experiences, and that's where I get into the competition thing, is that if every kid's achieving at 100%, but like this student's 100% is not the same as this student's, every Scholastic World Drumline, you can't convince me that there's anybody who has every kid where their 100% is the exact same.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's not like
It's not really.
the best marching band in Texas or Indiana or wherever, like not every kid has the same 100%. And I think it's hard as instructors that are watching those groups going, We want to be like that to understand ourselves and realize ourselves, oh, they're not every kid the same. There's no way that I'm gonna will this thing to be every kid the same. It's just not
Right.
gonna happen.
The
So what
greatest
do I
mind
do?
code.
So what do I do to make them all feel successful and have some competitive success and me, feel good about it as well?
You said what can I do to make everyone feel successful? I always think about what can I do to make everybody feel seen.
Say that again.
I always think about what can I do to make everybody feel seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a big part of our jobs as educators is making that student know and understand that I'm witnessing your growth and development in real time. And good or bad, I'm here with you on that journey until you come out of my purview.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so it's like, I often tell my students that what you see is what you get with me. I'm going to tell you when it's great. I'm going to tell you when it's bad. It's never meant to hurt your feelings or to make you feel bad, but it's for you to understand that as you go on this journey in life, you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. The greatest thing somebody can do to help you is make you aware.
Yes.
And so a big part of how I always look at that is like at the end of a week or at the end of it's like, have I made every single individual in my ensemble become aware of where they're at by making sure that they know that I know that they know they have been seen, they have been made aware, they have been given commentary that's going to allow them to grow in their journey. And that is I feel like it's easy when you don't do that for every student, when you only focus on a few. So that's why it's like, yeah, when you're a technician and you only got to worry about 5 or 9 or 7, it's easier than when you're a director or you're an instructor of a high school group and you have to worry about 20 or 30 or 40 students. It's because you have to give that amount of energy multiplied by the number of students that you have to the same level. So kind of what you said is where it's like every student's on their individual journey and trying to reach whatever is 100% for them. You have the responsibility of coaching them through that journey of 100% and making sure that they know, here's my next step based on my individual plan.
Yes. Yes. Got to be able to help students be able to understand and interpret, define success for them, because it is going to be individual. And I think one of the things that I think helps me to be able to do that, especially like you said, being seen or feeling seen. And I think some of my students know this a lot of times. I pick at people inadvertently just to make things funny. Whenever they mess up stuff, because they know I already see stuff anyway.
Right.
So if I say it in a comical way, that in some ways that lets them know that I see them.
Right.
Obviously, I see a mistake or something else that can be made better. But like you saw that too. Like,
Right.
we both saw the same thing, and we're both on the same team. And it's not like a bad me calling you out like, oh my God, you suck as a human being.
Right.
It's like, no, like we see each other and we see what it is that we're trying to do. And I think one of the other things that I've been trying to do, I feel like I've done this maybe the past 4 or 5 years, is at the end of the season, I have a one-on-one with everybody within the ensemble. Just to give them a plus and a minus that sticks out in my head of like things that I felt like this is something that I felt like you really grew in. This was a performance that I really noticed you. And I really noticed like what you were doing and like how you grew over the course of the season. Because I know that I don't have enough time, like Ryan was saying, like in a rehearsal, I don't really have enough time to call out each individual person and give everybody a high five all the time. Because you're rehearsing, 30 plus people.
Right.
But if, I can take 2.5 hours out of a day after the season's over with and talk to every kid individually and tell them what I feel like they did really well. And then also, hey, here's the next step for you. Then that helps them, like you said, 1, feel seen, but 2, helps them kind of like clarify success for themselves as to like, this is your 100. And all we're asking you for individually is to accomplish your 100. We're not expecting everybody's 100 to be the same.
Correct.
And I feel like going back to what Ron said, we have to make sure that we define that ourselves as an instructor and as a director, because my 100 is not going to be Ayala's 100.
Right.
I don't have the same, number of prop dads. I don't have the same number of budget. I don't have the same number of staff. You know what I mean? I don't have the same. We're not playing the same thing here.
Right.
So, like, if I don't define my own 100 as a director and as a design team, etc., even though I'm trying to increase that, then that leads to, negativity from the top down going towards the students.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. They really are going to interpret the sentiment that you carry, whether consciously or unconsciously. And I really think as instructors, we have to be so aware and apparent of the energy that we give off inside of our personal situation, because even though we're inside of this microcosm of band, right? We are not removed from the human experience. And the human experience is the brain is constantly taking in information, whether we know it or not. And so we have to make sure that the information that we are putting out inside of those situations has been curated for that situation. And that takes planning on our part. But that's why being in those positions is difficult, right? You can't just, you can't just show up and say, I'm gonna wing it today. And it's like, well, winging it doesn't help your ensemble be conditioned consistently if you're just winging it every time you show up. Being prepared for those incidences and how you're going to curate that experience for, like we said, everybody's individual journey, and then the overarching goals that you've got, and how you funnel all of that into, how you funnel all those journeys through that filter of the goal that you have. All of that takes a lot of planning.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes teaching difficult.
Yeah, and the hardest part is, like, we don't understand the student perspective of it.
For sure.
So, like, what I did, and I love that Rob brought up the one-on-one meetings that he does. I started doing 2 years ago a monthly email with my kids.
Oh, wow.
And at the first of every month, we send an email. And at the beginning of the year, it's like, what is a short-term goal, musical and non-musical? What is a long-term goal, non-musical and musical? And what is an action step that you can take to get closer to that? And it can't just be practice. Like, what is an actual specific step? And then the next month I go, all right, how'd you do?
I took out the section leader.
Like, check. But it also, and I'll ask them questions sometimes too of like, how do you feel like this is going for you so far? Whatever. But I've had, out of those emails, I've had to have a couple sit down conversations that were really good with students of like, hey, your email said that you're like really disappointed in like your progress so far. Just tell me more about why you feel that way. And then for me to look at them and go, you shouldn't feel that way, and this is why you shouldn't feel that way.
Right.
I understand that this is why you feel that way, but you're comparing yourself to another person's journey and that kind of thing. And I think those individual check-ins, again, I love, like, and I get away from them. I don't do them every single month, even though I know I need to. But like that gives us perspective of where we think they are or where they think they are, because it's very easy for us to be like, well, this is the next step for you. But we know they're ready for that next step, but do they know they're ready for that next step?
Yeah.
Or, like, conversely, do they think they're here and they need to be back here? And we can't know that if we don't have those conversations and check-ins with them.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's something that if you're not doing some sort of check-in, whether it be a meeting or an email even, and for me the email thing is nice because with this generation, I'm teaching them how to send an email. Like I'm literally teaching them,
Right.
like, this is, you don't type the whole thing in the subject line.
Right.
Like you type this in the subject line, and and then you say, "Dear Ryan" or "Dear Mr. Reed," and this, and then you sign it, and like literally teaching them that. And I've had students tell me like, if you didn't do that, I wouldn't know how to properly send an email.
Wow.
What's also good about the email meeting is it helps you keep your perspective big picture. It helps you separate from the day-to-day grind that many percussion instructors find themselves in because it's a one man or one woman show.
Mm,
And not a lot of groups have the capabilities to hire additional techs. And, I talked to you guys about this earlier this week. It was so refreshing to be able to hire some individual instructors for our spring camp this past year. Just to talk shop and to be more of a collaborative team effort. And you might have that with your other assistant band directors, but most of the time your head director's running either a brass or a woodwind, and then their assistant director's doing the other one, and the percussion director's all by themselves.
right.
Or they have other responsibilities they have to take care of. So by having those monthly or semester meetings, whatnot,
Right.
even whether it's email or just over lunch or whatever, it helps you get out of that day-to-day grind of Susie, I told you, C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, instead of, okay, how do you feel you're doing on keyboard? Oh, man, I'm learning a lot. I learned the alphabet. I'm just really struggling on remembering what note goes to which part of the keyboard.
Mm.
All right, let's do more of this so we can work on that together.
Yeah.
Right? Great idea, Ryan.
Well, and that makes teaching so much more enjoyable when you can go, like, it's a slog. Like, teaching is a slog. But when you can go and look at those emails or those meetings and whatnot and go, holy crap, this kid's gotten so much better. Like, or holy crap, this program's gotten better. I've talked about a couple things that I've struggled with in the past. One of them is just like reflecting on a season, feeling good about what we got done versus like, well, that's done. Time to get to the next. Like,
Yeah, because there's always the
time in
next
the
thing
trench.
coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm out of this trench and I'm into this trench versus like I'm out of this trench. Let me spend a little bit of time surveying. Like, hey, we didn't do too much damage back there. All right, let's jump back
See,
in.
that's something that I've been reflecting on the past couple of weeks with just personal development in general. That I feel like is kind of like a slippery slope. Is like when you are a person that is very much progressive and you want to get better at things. I feel like one of the downfalls and like pitfalls is like you can always be measuring yourself against how much better you can be, which is really a moving goalpost.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
You're doing it the right way.
yeah, like you're
Yeah.
always going to be able to be hypothetically better, more efficient. You know what I mean? Like teach with more clarity, play better, perform at a higher level. Like you're always going to be able to do that. So how do you guys like bridge that gap? Because I feel like if you're always looking at that, then you can never really take stock and appreciate what it is that you are able to do within this point in time, because you're always measuring yourself against a hypothetical better version of yourself that you can achieve that you haven't.
Oh, yeah.
Can you simplify that question for me?
They're asking me how do I fight the Terminator from the future when I'm president.
Okay, there we go. I got that.
You gotta. I almost feel like I have to preface it at the point to where most good instructors that I know never give themselves enough credit. Just point blank out. Like most good instructors that I know, they are not quick to pat themselves on the back. They are not quick to give themselves all these balloons and accolades because they are always focused on what is coming next. What is next on the horizon. So I think that has to be said first. And that's not to say if you want to be great, don't worry about what you did, but
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, it kind of also rings true. Like what you did in the past is in the past, meaning that it is historical now. You can't really repeat those things. You can implement some of those things and bring them, but it's always circumstantial, right? Your circumstances are constantly changing. So while you can adapt some of those things that helped you be successful for the things that didn't change, you have to now adapt and grow and learn to implement things that are going to help you be effective for the circumstances that are changing. So I told my ensemble this year that our word for this year is going to be effective, because I feel like so often in the past I have asked them to do certain things without kind of capturing it in like one word, and what I wanted them to be was effective, but I never put it into words for them for what effective means for them, right? It's like effective for you is your feet are always in time because that's something you always struggle with. Effective for you is you coming to rehearsal on time because that's something you always struggle with, right? So I've tried to tie back their individual deficiencies to this is what I need from you in order for you to be the most effective you can be for this ensemble to gain success. And that's giving them their pathway to be 100% for them, right?
Yeah.
And I've kind of coined it in that effective space because I feel like sometimes people don't understand that like being effective makes it so much more worthwhile holistically than if you're just present, right? Like, I don't need you to just be present. I need you to be effective while you're here, right?
Yes.
Like I told my fifth bass drummer, you hitting the downbeat every single time and not missing a note is going to make the ensemble 100% more effective if you never miss that note. Got it. And like that speaks to where it's like, I want to have an impact. I just don't want to show up. I want to make sure that my impact is seen, heard, felt, etc. This is how you can be the most effective. So it feels like when we're talking about like how do you prepare mentally for that progression of this is what I did and this is where I have to go. I really think it is a conversation with yourself about recognizing the good, recognizing the bad, taking stock in the good and bringing that with you, leaving the bad stuff that you feel like you have opportunities to increase, expand, expound on behind, and then adapting to your circumstances. Because the better that we're able to adapt going forward. Now, this is with the caveat that you're constantly collecting information
Oh, absolutely.
because it makes it difficult to adapt if you're not collecting new information, right? At that point, you're becoming stale. So, we went to the, I keep wanting to say haberdashery name, Tony, whatever on Instagram. Tommy said, what's the one too? The Sazerac, all right?
Yeah.
So just like they're talking about the Sazerac house, they were showing the menus of like, this is what a drink was in 1923, this is what something was in 1999, and this wasn't like that's adapting, right? Because you have different materials, you have different things that you can pull from to kind of create, a new cocktail or something like that. And while it may have similar tasting things, it is now constructed differently for its current state of adaptation, like the nature that we're in.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is how you stay relevant. That's how you stay consistent. And we can see that with all of the high performing ensembles, groups, people, artists, etc. Just in our lifetime, right? I think about man, I think about Denzel Washington, right? Denzel Washington's been acting whole scale since like the 1980s, right? But he has found a way to become effective and adapted over time to meet not only his circumstances, he's getting older, not only the people that he has to work with, because Hollywood in 1980, 1990 is very different than Hollywood in 2023, 2024, 2025. But he has found that way to consistently adapt to his circumstances while collecting in new information to still produce products that everybody will go and see, the art form that everybody will go and see that he's present for. And I feel like if it was the same Denzel that we got in 1980 as in 2025 with him, 40 years older, we probably wouldn't still want to go see that, right?
Right.
But he's taken the things that has been able to be consistent and he has adapted to the things that are new and improved to make it more worthwhile, and that's what continues that draw. And I think especially as educators, right, our whole shtick on our podcast is about changing the conversation, right? So especially as educators, we are tasked with trying to figure out what is it that we have to add to our bag that's going to allow us to keep creating as we move forward, to keep changing and being present in the new circumstance as we move forward. And as long as we're doing that, especially inside of a great community of people, then I think we're going to be just fine. I don't think we're going to be on the tail end of things, so to speak. But the collecting of that information and the adaptation is so important for us to be able to look forward.
Facts.
Nice, guys.
Yeah.
Great conversation tonight.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's good to be back.
Speaking of back, oh man, I really just want to give a supreme thanks, not only to my cohorts, for the time that we've spent kind of curating this educational outlet, to teach others, to engage with others, but also for everyone that has taken a moment to listen, to watch. I feel like we are very fortunate because we kind of started this on a whim as a way for us to connect during the pandemic because we couldn't see each other in real time because of just how everything was. And it kind of grew into this collection. I feel like it started as an experiment and then grew into this collection of conversations that we've had to kind of just provoke thought. And people are still listening, people are still engaging. We get these monthly emails, new downloads this week. And it's like, man, we recorded that thing like, a year and a half ago. But it's still impactful because we still have new people that are discovering us, new audiences that are things that are being shared along the way. And like, if that's not, when I say the dream, if that's not the dream of having a lasting impact on the world, I don't know what is, right? And that's just us authentically having a conversation about the things that we're passionate about, learning from each other and being able to share that with the world. So thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Awesome. So if you want a way to connect with us, definitely you can feel free to reach out to us on the Instagram handle, Volta Percussion. We also are available. You communicate with us, voltapercussion@gmail.com.
Gmail.
Man, we haven't done an outro in a while. Yeah, I am rusty. So as we kind of wrap up, live from New Orleans at the Troubadour, and just remember, if you're ever in the NOLA, New Orleans area, come out, visit the Troubadour. They've created a great space for us, so it's been lovely here.
Very cool.
But as an exit, my name is Elanders Frazier. Got Mr. Robert Dickens Jr. here to my right, to my left, Mr. Ryan Reed, and finally,
Who's that guy?
Mr. John Gaal. Thank you all so much. We appreciate it, and we hope to talk to y'all soon.
Peace.
Night.
Yeah.
Bloopers, you're wearing Crocs. They've been trying to get me to buy Crocs all day. We went mall shopping for E.
I did. I know. You know what's sad about the amount of places that we went to is I've been looking for shoes all day and all I've bought is hats.
Cut.